Yeah! Alright boys, this is a long time coming. Finally, I sat down and I made a draw my life. Holy shit guys, you guys have no idea how long this took me. It's been taking me days and I'm not even kidding. I've been working day and night on this video. This is by far one of the most complicated videos I've ever made in my life, but also one of the most exciting videos. But anyway guys, I know you guys are excited. I know you guys have been waiting on this video and finally it's here for you guys to see. So let's get to the story. So my life begun in a really interesting way. And unfortunately guys, it's a little bit dark as well. My mom and dad had just got married, had their wedding night at this beautiful place called Fløyen. And in the middle of the night, my mom noticed that something was wrong. So my mom and dad, they rushed to the hospital from their wedding night to check out if I was fine. When they got to the hospital, the doctors told them that I didn't make it. The next morning, they did ultrasounds to be 100% sure that I wasn't alive. But when they did the ultrasounds, I was more than alive. I was going crazy inside my mom's stomach. And that was the best prank that I've ever done in my entire life. My dad told me that at that moment, that was one of the only times he ever cried in his entire life. Which actually means a lot to me considering the fact that I've never seen him cry ever before. And then a little troublemaker was born. The 11th of February, 1997 in Norway. To be more specific, it was in Bergen. The day that I was born, all weather types happened that day. Sun, thunder, snow, rain, you name it. And my mom means that this reflects my personality. And then about 1.5 years later, my brother Rune was born. This is him. And this photo describes our relationship perfectly. At this time, I already had one older brother, which genetically is my half-brother. But I didn't get to know this until I was about 12 years old. And I've never even thought about it, because to me, he is my real, true, full brother. And we are 4 brothers in total. Yeah, a lot of testosterone in this house. Growing up, we were never poor. We were never really rich either. My dad, he worked in the military to provide for the family, and he was home about 2 weeks a month. We had each other and we were happy. One day I got this great idea to cut Rune's hair, and I thought it turned out to be great, him included, until our mom saw what we had done. She got shocked, which resulted in Rune bawling his eyes out, and since my mom is a hairdresser, she decided to just shave his head. Maybe that is where my interest for hair comes in? I don't know. Since I've always been afraid of trying out new things, I always sent out Rune first to try him before I did to see if it was safe. From a very early age, I've always been very active. And I love sports. Gymnastics, skateboarding, but never group sports, like football and such. I don't really know why, I think I was just a solo rider. But more importantly, besides sports, I was super interested in people, how people's minds worked. I always did things outside of the box and living life my way. And as I told you guys, I was always super scared of trying new things. So when I entered kindergarten, I was super shy in the beginning. And I just basically wanted to be left alone. But as time went on, I made some friends and I started to love kindergarten. And this is why. For some weird reason, I managed to get 9 kids in kindergarten to work for me. I even remember their names till this day. I was a leader in kindergarten and I made all the kids make a sand cake that I gave to my mom when she came to pick me up from kindergarten. And of course, I took all the credit for the cake. That's what I like to call being street smart. My name means king and leader. Maybe that's where it came from. At least I lived up to my name. So after kindergarten, I started primary school. And the same thing happened over again. I was very shy in the beginning, and then after a little while I started to become comfortable and I started shining. Except I couldn't get people to work for me this time. But I was still a leader. I've always had a very deep understanding and interest in people and psychology, and how to make people feel good, feel accepted, and feel welcome when being around me. All the friends that I made in primary school, one by one changed schools because they didn't like it. But I loved that school. All the craziness that went on, that was perfect for me. It was my element. Plus, again, I was afraid of trying something new, so I stayed in that school for all 7 years. I knew everybody, I knew the ins and outs in that school, but that wasn't so weird because my last year we were only 3 students left in the class. Me, Sebastian, and Marius. Then middle school came around. And oh my god, things were about to change. I went straight from being in a class with 3 students to joining a class of 30 students. This was such a huge cultural shock for me. It was new, it was scary, but it was also exciting. I had matured a little bit and knew things were okay. Still scary, but okay. The first year was just totally amazing. I kept on being the class clown, the troublemaker, making sure that people were smiling and being happy, and also just feeling good around me. I remember we had this one student in her class who just seemed to be left outside, and no one really talked with him. And since I always wanted to make sure that everybody around me was good, I started talking with him and brought him into the group. And we actually ended up becoming really good friends. And some of my best memories from that school is actually hanging out with him every day. And after a while, I found out that he had been shifting between 7 schools because he had been bullied. 7 schools! That is not okay, guys. Be nice to each other. At this time, I didn't even know what being bullied felt like, but I could tell that he had been going through a lot by himself. I tried to understand to the best of my advantage at this point, which just made us a lot closer. And then a little side note, I remember at this time, me and my buddy, we used to throw the most insane parties ever. I mean, no teen at this age should ever throw a party to begin with, but I remember one Halloween, which I actually made a story time on earlier. We had between 30 to 50, maybe even 70, 100 people maybe at one point inside his house. There were people in every single room and every single floor. I mean, at one point there was a random dog running through the house. People just came by, came in the windows, came in the terrace door, came in wherever they wanted to, and it just became chaos. Anyway, back to the original story here. And then okay, 9th grade. Damn. That's when things kind of changed for me. This is where my story takes a bit of a dark turn. A lot of the things that happened this year still haunts me to this day. I got a lot of insecurities and stuff that I'm still working on. Okay, so all of my friends, they had Instagram. And I didn't want to make one because I felt like it was just gonna occupy my time. And I wasn't going nowhere with it. But eventually, I made an Instagram and I started posting photos. And for some weird reason, I started blowing up. I remember it was like ecstasy. It was the most amazing feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. So many random people that wanted to support me and that I interacted with every single day. Though outside of school, I just kept on posting photos, and in school, I just kept on being the class clown. I lost the little motivation that I had left for school. All that I wanted to do was just to interact with my amazing followers. Life was great. People from my school started to find out about my Instagram and decided to make fun of me. I don't know if they were jealous or if I was just a huge weirdo. Probably a mix of them both. They got more people on board and it became trendy to hate on me and unpopular to be around me. This was the first time in my life that I actually felt alone. Going from being a person who was friends with everybody, no matter if you were fat, skinny, tall, black, white, purple, Asian, whatever it might be, to being left outside. I put all my energy into trying to make people smile, and I felt like I was just less worth. Every day I was very nervous to go to school, so at this point I was only hanging out with my one friend that I brought into the group the previous year, and it was kind of like me and him. And occasionally I walked with some other people to school and hung out with them once in a while. For the first time in my life, I felt outside and not accepted, and I could finally understand what my friend had been going through. I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong, or if I was even doing anything wrong. I was just following my dream and being myself, trying to make people happy. But no matter how hard I tried, it was all worthless. At this age, everybody's trying to figure out who they are themselves. It's very hard for people to think independently at this age and really go into themselves and think what they actually like and not just follow the group. Everybody is the person that society wants them to be and not actually themselves. The only ones I had left was my followers, and that kept me going for a while. It came to a point where I was very recognizable in my hometown and even famous in Norway if you want to. So much that my safe place became flooded with hate, which was my Instagram, my family, my followers, my friends. It all kind of drowned in hate. It became trendy to hate. I didn't want to stop posting or delete my Instagram and just leave my amazing followers behind, but I couldn't take the negativity anymore, so I stopped. Which was the worst and also the best decision I ever made. It was the worst because I let the haters win, but the best because I learned so much from it. It just made me so much stronger and prepared for what was about to come later. I was only about 15 years old at this time, and I never asked for fame. I'm not sure if I can even call it being famous, but a lot of people in Norway knew who I was. And at the same time, I started to get insane acne, so I felt alone. Very alone. I'd never experienced anything like it ever before. The social anxiety was unbearable, and still to this day I'm struggling with it. And I went off the internet for 2 years, and my dream was over. But hey, I needed to do something with my life. I tried getting into a school where they had engineering. But hey, surprise, my grades weren't good enough. I'd spent so much time being the class clown, trying to make people happy and laugh, that I didn't make it. I ended up having to go to some random ass school, becoming something that I didn't want to become. There is even a news article of me sitting outside the school for 24 hours just to try to get a spot. In some miraculous way, my mom worked day and night to get me into that school. How she did it? I don't know. All I know is that I'm forever grateful for that. I felt like I had been given a new chance. So I sacrificed everything that I had to school, and for 2 years I wasn't away from school a single day, and my grades were sky high. I got 5.3 out of 6 both years, and then the time came to search for an apprenticeship to work in the Northern Sea as a roughneck worker. That year the market went down. Yep, my year. At this point, I just felt defeated. Life had given me a solid kick straight to the nuts. I remember I actually cried when I realized that 2 years of my life were wasted. I had to wait a year and not do anything, because if I did, that was gonna put me at the back of the line and my dream of becoming a roughneck driller would be over. And then one night I was reflecting on all of this, and I built up the courage to give my original dream another try. My Instagram was dead though. I remember I used to get around 15,000 likes on average at my peak, and now I got around 1,000 likes. People had forgot who I was. So I had to step it up a level. I turned to YouTube. I tried. I posted one video being nervous as hell. It didn't get much response though. Couple hundred views maybe. Then I posted a vlog. People liked it. I got the same spirit back that I had back in the day, the same feeling as when I started out with Instagram, except I was starting from scratch again. January 2016, I decided to go in and actually try YouTube for real. I had to go big or I had to go home. This was it. I wanted to build a family. I wanted to be able to communicate with words, emotions, and tonality, instead of just posting a picture on Instagram. So I kept on posting videos. Now it mattered. I had 1 year to prove to my parents that this was gonna work out for me. The whole year, the YouTube family got bigger, stronger, and better. And when the time came to apply for an apprenticeship, I didn't. I told my mom that I did. Sorry, mom, but I didn't. I had found my passion. What I wanted to do, even though we were small, I knew we could still work out in the end, and that I could be able to make a living off of this. And from that point, the rest is history. I have dedicated my life to what I've always loved doing. Making people smile, making people happy, and feeling welcome when being around me. And I have met so many amazing people through YouTube. I am cool with everybody from my past. You wanna know one thing that's really interesting? I absolutely love all the bad things that's happened in my life. I appreciate it so much, and this is why. I have learned more from that than anything else. I have become the person I am today because of it. I've realized that there is good in everything as long as you look on the situation from the right perspective. Throughout all the negativity and bad things that's happened to me, I've come to learn that all the failures were there just to make me stronger and to prepare me for what was about to come later. And lastly, I want to thank you guys. I appreciate you who is watching right now so much for being part of this YouTube family. Over the years, we've become so strong together. And without you, none of this would have ever been possible. I am so grateful and I thank you guys every single day. And even though I'm good with words, I have figured out that expressing my love for you guys is impossible to put into words. Words just simply doesn't describe the feeling I have every single day thanks to you guys. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me live my dream. Thanks for being part of this amazing YouTube family. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. We don't know what the future holds, but I can sure as hell tell you that I've only just begun. And it's gonna be freaking amazing. So hold on tight and join the best family on YouTube, and I promise you I am going to bring you with me all the way to the top. That's it.